Welcome to Form of Passion, episode 161, the first episode of 2026. This one's been a long time coming for me. Get to talk to somebody that I think is very cool, has a good spirit, and does a lot of cool things that are not confined to just like regular parameters, and they kind of, they kind of go by the beat of their own drum, and I'm really looking forward to getting into their story. At the top, I want to get a couple things out of the way. I want to shout out all the new Patreon subscribers for us here. If you want to support this podcast, you can do so at www.patreon.com/forum of passion. And if you do so, we're going to give you a shout out at the top of the mainline episodes, just like right now. First one this week is Mr. Tay Dillon. I know Tay, he's a kid from Alameda. He rocks, good kid. Mateo Garcia. I know Mateo. Mateo's filled in for Eliminators, and he's in a band called Stantall. He also does videos under the moniker Naughty Pelican, getting a lot of good videos around the Bay. And last but not least, a Mr. David Murphy. Thank you very much to all of y'all. And yeah, if you subscribe to that Patreon, you're going to get an additional episode each month. And the last one we did the year in review for 2025. So check that out at www.patreon.com/forum of passion. Today's guest, like I said, a unique individual doing unique things, doing cool stuff, and a man with a really big heart. So my friend, Mr. Julian Pratt. Julian, how you doing?
What's up, man? Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Been a minute.
Yeah, man.
How to begin with you, I know that you are born and bred New York, to my knowledge. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
What part of New York did you you grow up in? Like what was kind of like your childhood like there?
I was born in Hell's Kitchen, and I was raised on the Upper West, around Morningside, Upper West, Manhattan Valley. So from my birth to like high school, like all Manhattan, super old school neighborhoods. A lot of Jewish folks,
Sure.
a lot of Puerto Rican folks, and yeah, I guess, and then the last 10 years I lived in Queens, mostly in one small part of Queens. But coming up in the city was dope, man. It was lovely. I was always outside. It was like, there was no question of like what we were going to do. You know what I mean? Like
Always something to get into.
We went around, you know what I mean? Yeah, and like especially I guess like in high school, join like different crews that were popping up around, kind of got into like graffiti and hip hop and that sort of stuff. And it was kind of, and I knew about hardcore, but it was really like, the first like punk rock hardcore CD that I got, my friend gave me, and it was like Youth of Today, Break Down the Walls. And
Classic.
Yeah, and it was sick as fuck, and it blew my mind. I must have been like 12 or something, or
Sure.
like 11. But I didn't start like going to shows till I was like 13 or something like that. And that was like, and I really got into it through New York downtown culture, cats from like the Lower East Side and stuff like that, and like pulling up to parties, and different like crews and writers like showing me different music, basically, is how I really got into like hardcore and punk and stuff like that. I think like I didn't know, like I knew what hardcore was, and I thought it was cool, and I knew what like punk was cool, but like I met Ezek like before I knew what like Scarhead was.
I can see that though. He kind of has his hand in like a few things like that, and I feel like he wears like a few different hats. So I could see kind of meeting him and like not knowing,
Well, I mean, back in the day, it was just parties. It was like
right.
They were either running security for parties, or they were throwing parties, and it was cool. And it's funny because I like well before like people like thought it was cool to know people. Like Scam had my back, and Ezek had my back.
For sure.
you know,
For sure.
and, and those have always been really nice gentlemen to me. But it's funny because people always ask me about them in terms of like hardcore, and I'm like, yo, this is like my friends basically. Obviously, they're a lot older than me, and I had a pleasure of them looking out for me as a young one. They, but but I guess like, just it was really just being outside and like, like even like after like you like get out because I went to high school downtown and
Right.
we would get out of high school and you would meet up with your other homies. At that time I was running with Letter Racer Crew, which was like I guess like really around like um Patrick, who's known as Wiki, and Letter Racer Crew. Originally, Letter Racer was a group, was a hip hop group, and originally it wasn't even a group. It was just like a little crew that was Johnny Problems, Arvid Logan, and Patrick, and those are all good friends of mine, really talented artists. Each one of them, and then so Letter Racer Crew started kind of around Rat King, which was like it was funny because it was a band, and to us it was a band, but it was like a drum machine and two MCs basically, and
Okay.
like I remember there was like so much beef with like other rappers because like we were like everyone in Letter Racer Crew was like under 18, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And like other people were like, this is hip hop, this is what that is, this is rock music, and we were all just like, yo, fuck that, like fuck you, this is hardcore, this is a band, and we were like so little, you know what I mean? But that was like the first time really like running around and seeing all these different parts of culture that the city had to offer up. And so then being around downtown, then on Saturdays, I was probably like 14 or 13, started hanging out at ABC No Rio
Oh, no doubt. Okay.
Saturdays.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, ABC No Rio is a special, special, special place. Um, and you know that,
What kind of stuff are you seeing there?
dude, so many things, so many things. And, people think of ABC No Rio mostly as this, like, I mean, I don't know how, honestly, I don't know how do you see it, please?
Okay, that's a great question. So, from my knowledge of it, it was like whereas you were getting kind of like more of like meat and potatoes hardcore from like a CB's or something like that, ABC was like probably maybe like more like politically minded version of maybe the stuff that was going on at
Okay.
CB's. So it's like the Born Against of the world, or like stuff that's like a little like left of center, as opposed to just like fast pitch HC.
All right, Mister knows exactly what the fuck you're talking about. Yeah, it's for the quiz over there. No, I'm playing. But it was cool,
Sure.
man. Like
Yeah.
it was like before safe space was a thing.
Yeah.
You like trans kids were cool there. Like even if you were a junk, you could hang out there. You weren't supposed to like do drugs there, but if you were having a hard time and if you were different, um, it's like especially for like a lot of like punks that were not white and punks that were not straight and stuff like that. A lot of them did hang out at ABC No Rio.
It
And
makes
it's funny.
complete sense, Yeah.
I mean, and like it's funny now to be like, oh, like that, like all that stuff is corny, and to a certain extent, it's sad that it is corny that like people that were like, oh man, like another safe space, like you know what I mean. But at the same time, like there was a time when that stuff was really important to young folks. You know what I mean?
Sure. There wasn't a lot of options for that, like
Yeah. I
so
mean, that was
like you said, it's like one of the first ones of that nature.
yeah, and and believe you me, it was not by any means like what you would consider like a safe space.
Oh, by today's standards, no. But
Yeah. Um, but like if you want to drink or like fucking like sniff glue, you'd like go around the corner. You know what I mean?
okay. Right.
And it was like there's rules to the shit. And also, so yeah, so there's a semi-political, I guess like yeah, there was a political thing. I don't even I mean I wouldn't consider it a political thing because it was so much a part of what I also saw happening around the city. You know what I
Sure.
mean? It was
Yeah.
all like it all felt like a similar vibe. And but they had a zine library that had like international, like even zines and like some zines in other languages and shit, and like and just like so many cool old punk scenes and like about graffiti and stuff. And I remember I read like this like one of the first zines that actually like really like came in handy is like this guy had a zine in there that was like all of the easiest access like MTA street level ports.
Oh, lit. Okay.
Yep. And so it's like and it taught you like how to make the key for it. And so it was like, it was like, and I guess this is all like, what years is this? This is like, I guess like the mid to late 2000s. And
Okay.
so like, this is like, like after, like, after kind of like the whole like politically, I mean, as kind of like after the whole like animal liberation front, Earth First movement,
Sure. Yeah. Like,
figured out, but
mhm.
now, and so this was kind of like some kind of vestige, but at the same time, those are large American movements and international movements, but at the same time, New York has always, and especially downtown culture and Lower East Side culture, I mean, that's right on Rivington Street, downtown has always been a huge center, not only for, not only center for activism, but center for like real street violence and
Sure.
class violence.
You get like the dichotomy, a lot of like
Oh yeah,
progressive thought in New York, but also
yeah,
it's like if you want to talk about like like real street activity, that's
yeah,
also
yeah.
where
I
you
mean,
think of.
a lot of my homies, a lot of my homies that live there to this day, that live in that neighborhood, it's like so funny, you know what I mean? That like they like walk down the street and like, it's like a bunch of like frat people like throwing up after brunch.
Oh yeah.
You go down like this other block. It's like literally it's like within 100 yards from each other. Like the some of the most wealthy folks in the city to like a pretty gnarly block. You don't want to walk that,
Straight up.
but but that has always been happening in that area, and so like you talk about like the up against the wall motherfuckers who were the people who burnt down the water tent at Woodstock, like anarchist happenings. That those are all Jewish folks, Puerto Rican folks, and junkies that got together in the Lower East Side to start like an anarchist action
No doubt.
syndicate.
Okay.
And so like and they just did stuff from like all over the city. So they would like there was a lot of the action they did when they built Lincoln Center. They demolished a huge working class neighborhood in the Upper West Side to build Lincoln Center, and then they were going up to El Barrio, which is like Spanish Harlem on the east side,
Mhm.
like probably like 20 blocks away, and getting all the trash and bringing it to Lincoln Center and dumping it in Lincoln Center.
Oh, no doubt. Okay.
So it's like, so I feel like sometimes people would be like, oh, like you're political, you're into politics or this or that. And it's like, nah, yo, like this is really just like the cultural history that I fall within.
Yeah, it's like what you grew up with. Like that's your environment, you
Yeah,
know?
and folks who carry on and created and propagate those traditions, I have the utmost respect for.
Salute, salute. And you're in spaces like this, you're around areas like this, like you find your way into graffiti as a young man. Like what you like it's like you are someone that I know that is into lots of different types of music. When you're like a teenager, when you're like 12, 13, getting into high school, whatever, like what kind of music are you finding yourself attracted to at that time period?
Dude, I mean, before that, it was hip hop, dude. It
Respect.
was
Okay.
like before punk rock, it was hip hop. Like there was that was, similarly. I know you're not from California, but you live in California now. But
Yeah.
but California is the vernacular, and I always thought this was a cool thing. California, the vernacular is punk rock music, right?
Sure.
People walk down the street, or like old school proto punk music, rock and roll. That's like the vernacular, like yeah, man, like shit like that.
A lot
I
of
don't.
that, yeah.
Maybe I'm being fucking judgmental.
No, no,
I
no,
don't.
no. I
But
mean,
I'm just making a point to
I would
say
agree
that
with you. Yes.
in New York, the vernacular is hip hop.
That's a great way to put that. Yeah.
I mean, so it's really just
Wow.
another world, and so when I even when I think about any music, I think about hip hop, like you know what I mean,
Sure.
like it's such a it's like such an institutionalized, and it's funny too because I didn't realize how different it was for other kids. But when I was growing up in New York, and when there was other music that wasn't from New York, we didn't listen to it.
I think that's almost like that's a very interesting thing. I feel like New York specifically, I feel like that is a thing, no doubt, because you have so much to pull from
Yeah,
around you, and it's like everything comes to you, and like there's so much just like homegrown that it's kind of like even having the mental bandwidth to kind of like expand beyond that at times. I feel like as a young kid would maybe be like difficult, you know?
absolutely. I mean, the first time I went to Philadelphia, I thought Big L was like Drake. Like the first time I like met people that didn't listen to Big L all day, I was like, "What the
It's like, what do you
fuck?
mean? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, what do you
Yeah.
guys do?"
Because that was what I was gonna say. Is like, what kind of like, so you're listening to like New York stuff, like '90s, I imagine, golden era, what have you. I'm sure. I mean, like this is like 2000, so I'm sure like Dipset and Locks is, a thing in the ether as well.
Hugely.
So
Huge.
all the classics, I imagine.
Yeah, the classics. Um, yeah, even some of the non-classics of that era, like
Mhm.
the Necro was
Oh,
dope
sure.
when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Ill Bill, um, uh, Rolls. There were, there's like there's a huge world of hip hop and stuff like that, and uh, but I feel like yeah, when we were coming up, like the basis was like hip hop. That's like what everybody listened to. That's like what, and like, you know what I mean? So like, I think in other places, people like, or like maybe in like suburban situations, like kids listen to hip hop to like stop, to like get away from their normal
Sure.
lives. Yeah,
Yeah.
So I
It's
feel
not
like,
what's outside. Yeah.
yeah, I kind of was like, oh, this rock shit is pretty cool. Like trying to like
Yeah.
get
You're
away.
switching it up.
You know what I mean? Yeah, just trying to figure something else out. Um, and I'm trying to think of like the first.
Yeah. I was gonna say, what's the first stuff you kind of gravitated towards over in that lane?
Well, I always loved old school gangster music because I love hip hop. I always loved like old school like Jersey Italian music, like Frankie Valli,
Okay. Of course.
Neon, and music that was made in the Brill Building, which is an old
Yep.
school building in Manhattan, and the Chordettes, the Angels. That was like, and it's funny too, because like you'd say that and you'd be like, yeah, bro, like what are you talking about?
No, some singers, some standards are nice.
No, dude, I mean, that's real. I could never love a bitch music. Like, that's like the
True.
first time people live down like that, bro.
That's
I'm
true.
a monster. I got Rosie on my chest. I don't love nobody, yo. Like, that's original gangster music.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. And then I guess, and so through that, I was listening to the Persuasions. I don't know if you're aware of the Persuasions,
I'm
but
not. I'm not. Tell me what's up.
they're a wonderful group from uh Brooklyn, and I think some of the members might have been from another place, but they're a great group from Brooklyn. I apologize.
You good, buddy?
Um, and they and they were just a acapella, just straight acapella group. So um it was, literally just acapella music. It's such beautiful music. Um and so basically you have like after like listening to that and then hearing, I think I heard the Ramones like low key after
Okay.
Break Down the Walls, honestly.
Sure.
Then hearing like the Ramones, I was like, oh shit, like this is just like that corner music. Like
Yeah, you can make the parallel for sure.
yeah, it's absolutely the same thing. Um so like and so I mean it's not even a parallel, bro. You listen to that shit, it's one for one, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I think a lot of the stuff that Johnny Ramone was like pulling from was he was going back to like '60s pop, to kind of like figure his structures and things like that. So that would make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean if you listen to like Leader of the Pack or something, it's like it's basically a Ramones song.
Mm-hmm.
um, with like no electric guitar or whatever. Um, but there's like a happening basically, and this also has to do with like New York salsa and basically like so there's like this corner music happening, and then at the same time there's like this wave, and this is like we're talking in like the 70s stuff like that, and like in the 60s and 70s, and then there's this wave of like salsa music happening that's a lot of Cuban people and Puerto Rican people, but that's all happening in New York City. You know what I mean?
Okay.
All this stuff is happening in New York City around each other. You know what I mean? So anything from like Fania to like the Ramones to like Agnostic Front, to me, that's all New York sound.
Sure. I mean, I don't disagree with you.
You know what I mean? Like that's all the sound of the city to me in a very literal way. That kind of, could, you could you could you could like paint me as like an old school motherfucker for that. But I think it's important that like all of these sounds from the city. So like, when I was saying like I really listen to New York music, like we did not listen to other music. Like even to this day, my girl, she's from the Bronx too, but she was raised in Vegas, and she'll be like, "Oh, you guys didn't listen to this? You listen to this song?" I'm like, "I never heard that song in my
Nah,
life."
man, that wasn't what was
No, I never
outside.
heard it. And it's like, yeah, it's like some like southern rap or like, stuff
Sure.
like that. And it's cool. It's all beautiful music. But like, dude, I never heard Boozy till like 6 years ago. You know what
Oh
I mean?
damn. I mean, yeah, it's like I get
Just
it, and it's
straight
like,
up.
yeah. And I feel like I'm from the South, so it's kind of like I mean, like something that kind of like I feel like went away in the and over the internet as the increase of internet access kind of became a thing. I feel like regional tastes have diminished over time because everybody has access to so much stuff like because of their phone or the internet or whatever. Whereas when you're growing up, when I'm growing up, a lot of stuff that you're interacting with, it's like, well, I know the stuff kind of around me. And then if you're from probably not New York, you're like, I know the stuff that's on the radio or like on TV or something. But, it's like at the time, it like makes complete sense. Like you're growing up around like so much music. And yeah, think about it, like you're a kid in the 2000s. It's like New York's having its like rock renaissance then too, with like, like the Strokes, yeah, yeahs, LCD Sound System, like that scene, and that's just like one thing happening in a sea of
I
things.
didn't even know
So
what that was.
yeah, and that was like big, you
I
know,
was like, I don't like that shit. I didn't like,
exactly, you know,
like, yeah, no, but absolutely, that's how big everything was. There's so much happening, continues to happen. But yeah, I always joke about it because, and not to make light of tiny headbands, because tiny headbands have huge contributions to punk rock history. You know what I mean?
for sure, bro. But you can say some stuff about him, no doubt.
But uh, but there was definitely a time where like everyone in New York wanted to be Death Side,
Oh, dude,
and like
yeah,
and
I even
everyone,
knew that as a guy not from New York, you know.
right, and it was frustrating because it was like everyone in New York wanted to be Death Side, and then everybody who lived more than 50 miles away wanted to make New York hardcore.
Yeah,
And I
100%.
was like,
Oh
I
yeah.
was like, what is happening? Like I was just literally confused.
Damn, you just really described like a really specific era. Like that's kind of like early 2010s where I'm like, damn, like
Yeah,
everybody's making NYHC in some like facet. And then
yeah,
yeah, New York was like, nah, we're on like discharge mode, like
yeah. Oh,
strictly. It felt like,
totally. Yeah. But but even before that specific era, or maybe right there, there were some great bands that weren't just wannabe Death Side bands. Like one of the best bands that I saw coming up is Dawn of Humans.
great band,
Emil is a crucial little headband
no doubt.
rocker. You know what I mean? There's a photo of him and his mom's. He's in a suit. He's got that fucking headband on, and I was like,
Respect.
if God is
It's
real,
committed.
yeah, dude. I was like, dang, you can't fucking say nothing about that, bro.
He's committed, bro.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when did you start making music yourself?
Ah, shit. Oh, God bless you. Um, I guess when I was like 8 years old, I started having like a lot of trouble at school. I'm like heavily dyslexic, yo.
Okay,
Couldn't read for a long time.
no doubt.
Like up until like third grade, could not read type
Right.
shit. Um, and my mother had a friend who was a musician, and I think also her cocaine dealer,
Okay.
um, by the name of
You get
Mike.
a little bit of both, you know.
Yeah, yeah, Michael P. He's a legend. Um, he used to live on St. Mark's when St. Mark's was a real place. Um, and my mother would send me to his house, and he also he had very severe dyslexia as well. Like, and she was like she must have just been like complaining to bro, and he was like, "Oh, I have that shit." And she was like, "Really?" And like she's like, "My son wants to like learn how to play guitar, but I think it's dumb. Like, do you want to teach him?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." And so she would like send me to Mike's house, and he like became my best friend.
Oh hell
And
yeah, man.
and he really like, you know what I mean? Like you're like a little kid, and you're like in special ed, like people think you're an idiot, you know? So like I really like, besides from like homies on the block, I had no friends, you know what I mean, at school. And so this older man, he must have been at the time like 50 years old, taught me how to play, uh, taught me so many wonderful lessons about music and showed me so much music. Um, and and yeah, he took his own life like 2 years ago.
Oh, I'm
But
sorry, man.
dude, it's all good. He's just couldn't rock it anymore, dude. Or maybe more. Maybe it was like 3 years ago now. Oy vey. I have a bad sense of time, and a lot of the homies and OGs have left me recently.
I know you've had a really rough go of it the past few years for sure. So my
Dude,
condolences.
my first mentors in life 4 years ago takes his own life, and then Mike Down, what was that now? Like 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, got hit by a fucking bus. He was like my second mentor in life, and then my best friend just fucking drove his motorcycle into a truck, and he's no longer with me. And that was maybe like 4 months ago now, or 3 months.
Noble?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Noble demand spell, and oh man, it's been really difficult without my man, dude.
I believe it. I can't imagine, dude. I can't imagine. It's a tragedy, and it was I guess the testament to his passing is that the outpour for kind of like people expressing how they felt about him. I didn't know him, but the outpour of how people express how they felt about him seemed to be like really strong and like really numerous. So he must have impacted like a lot of people when he was alive. You know.
Well, I mean, the people who were even the weird kids at the show that like needed someone to talk to, Noble talked to you.
That was the guy. Hell yeah, man.
Noble talked to you.
It's a good
You
person
feel
right there.
like, you know what I mean? You feel like somebody says someone's getting pressed outside, Noble will come handle it. Like that fool was a good ass dude, man.
Yeah, it's a respectable man, respectable, you know, character from all accounts that I've ever heard. Yeah, when I know you ended up meeting him like you know like later, it's like you know I imagine through like your journey through a lot of the like the different things that you end up doing. You know, and it's interesting because it sounds kind of like you have a community when you're a kid, but it also seems, and correct me if I'm wrong, that there is an aspect of maybe like even like isolation for you because you said you don't have any friends at school or anything, and
Yeah,
yeah, did that kind of permeate throughout your tenure through school, or did it change?
I guess so. I guess I had like two friends maybe.
So you picked up a couple, all right, no doubt,
Picked up one or two, dude.
one or two, sure.
But my disposition in life is not easy to get down with. I completely understand. There's a lot of folks that don't enjoy my company, and that's okay. The nowadays, Corpus, my circle of friends and companions and soldiers that I call my family, are um are few.
Sure.
You know, are
I, I
few.
I guess as you get older, that's the way to be, though. It's just like the people that you keep close are people that you know you can 100% depend on, as opposed to having like this like really vast network of acquaintances, you know,
Of-
that you call
and
friends.
I try to be friendly with everybody.
Of
You
course,
know,
yeah,
I try to be cordial till I can't be. But definitely as a kid, I think growing up and being in special ed, Sucks, yo.
Were you in special ed throughout like your tenure in school, or did you like
Pretty much.
eventually? What's
Pretty
up?
much. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Pretty
okay.
much. Yeah, dude. There's like, yeah, yo. You like meet a shorty in the summertime, and then she's like, "Oh, you going to the sixth floor?" And you're like, "Nah, yo." Nah,
Nah,
man.
nah. You're like,
Yeah,
nah, nah, nah. I left something up there. I'm gonna pick it
yeah,
up.
no, no. She's like, "Hello, Joe.
Yeah, I
Chill."
don't go to class up there though. No, no.
I don't even go here. Um,
That's awesome, dude. Wait, so you learned to play guitar from a young age. Like, what ends up being like your first like band or like musical endeavor?
I was in a terrible band as a child with a bunch of other idiots, um, who were like much more interested in smoking dust than playing music.
Sure.
Um, and I had a terrible band called Crack with a K. I've never even said that in an interview, don't yeah,
Hell
but
yeah.
terrible. Uh and like and I would like jam with homies and stuff like that, but like no one really had like a drum set.
Oh, yo, I'm gonna be low key. Kind of hard to do in New York.
Yo, very difficult,
Straight
man.
up, man.
Like, dude, I'm one of my proudest things is that like I have a place to play drums as an
That's
adult.
awesome. Good for you, man.
Yeah, like I'm like really, really proud of that. But yeah, we were jamming and it wasn't until I really like I wasn't like in bands till I met Harlan. Harlan plays bass and Show Me the Body. We met in like 10th grade and he uh he was he was like we I guess we started like a version of Show Me the Body that's not anything similar. So that I guess was like another band. And then Show Me the Body I guess like kind of began low key in like 11th grade with me and Harlan's like
Okay, so
friendship.
really early on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Was it?
We
It was called that, or did you have a different name?
The first iteration was a different name, and then Show Me the Body was named when I was in high school from
That's
uh
wild.
yeah, Tom Murphy, my history teacher, uh said Show Me the Body in class one day, and like Arvid Logan was in the class, and he was like,
Yo,
"That band, dude."
there it
I
is.
mean, but, like it's funny too. Like people to this day will be like, "Oh, that's like it's a great band," but like I am so embarrassed by it. I think also by the context of naming the band in high school that like I'm like oh like every time I meet an adult that knows nothing about hardcore and I'm like oh,
Some of the body. Yeah. Well, when the first time I heard the name, I imagined a different type of band. It had kind of like a almost like a metalcore du jour name of that time period. So I remember in my head I was like, I assumed it was that. Then I remember the first time I heard you, I was like, wait, this is like not what I think actually the first time I heard you was from a video. And I was like, oh, this is just not what I thought at all. And when the band starts, are you playing banjo then in the beginning or no?
I pretty early on my cousin spent time in Ohio for college and he brought back the banjo and he showed it to me and I was like that shit is dope. Like it just got I thought it was freaky deaky.
Yeah.
um and it was really noisy how I used it at first. I really liked the feedback that I was able to make with it and stuff like that. Um, but I feel like probably like in like in like my association of like what show of like where the name Show Me the Body was like coming from, like my association was or not literally I guess, but I guess like the feeling about like the bands that I was listening to
Hmm.
at that time, I guess like who was I listening to? That maybe that same year I saw Vitamin X
Oh, sick. Okay.
at
Yeah.
that was really cool.
Oh, I could kind of see it on like a
Um,
PV type name. Yeah, that makes sense.
and even who else did I there was also just a bunch of like great terrible bands in that era like Blackout Shoppers was like a local punk band and also this band called Two Man Advantage from Jersey.
Oh, or were they from like Long Island? They're a hockey theme band.
Yeah, Hockey Core.
Dude, I have not heard that name in so long. I remember
Dude, that's
encountering.
on. Yo, Saturday Night. Look up Saturday Night
Dude,
by Two Man. That
sick
shit goes
band,
up.
bro.
Honestly, when it's kind of like it's like the best of like oi. It's like fight music, and
Yeah.
it's like kind of like crazy pop punk music. Like
Yes.
at the same time, it's like really scary pop
Hmm.
punk.
It like made sense. It made a lot of sense for the time period it was a band. God damn, I have not heard that name since I was probably
Yeah,
in
big
high
lot.
school.
And so at that same time, is obviously like a lot of like the crust stuff that was
Sure.
happening was big and like dystopian, like Neurosis and um um nausea and then uh who else was I fucking I don't know, dude.
Yeah, I'm
Also,
really curious what goes into Show Me the Body's music. If someone were to ask me like what site of reference, I'd be like, brother, you just gotta listen to it. I can't tell you.
dude, I mean, if yeah, I mean, if there's like references to share, it's like motorcycles in the New York.
Sure. Okay.
It's
Yeah.
it's like a terrible like freaky deaky rhythm happening, and it's in the city. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I'm not so good at describing it either because you know what I mean. But I'm trying to think of other bands that like I was really listening to heavy. Oh, of course, and like Choking Victim and
Oh yeah. Hmm.
or Pratt, you know what I mean? At that time still was like really, really sick to me and like central to my to like what music was, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Obviously I listened to like Rancid and stuff like that.
Yep.
Like but those bands as being New York bands, even like Morning Glory for a little while, you know what I mean? But like those as being a young person trying to make like music in New York, those bands were super important to me, you know what I mean?
So from your memory, starting out Show Me the Body, you're like, like in high school. What do you remember like when and where your your first show was? And like what year that was?
Honestly, I don't, because I probably just like ended up there. Like, I can't say probably the first show that I remember like going to and making a plan to see a band
Mhm.
would have been at ABC No Rio.
Oh no, I meant for Show Me the Body playing.
For something by playing.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no. The first Show Me the Body show, dude, I don't know. Honestly, that's like for somebody who's like drinks less alcohol than I do. I really like I'm racking my shit to give you that answer. But fuck, dude.
Do you remember what year that it would have been in general?
I mean, it would have been like before 2012, so it would have been like
Okay.
2011 or yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Um, but a lot of our first shows were just like in basements. We played Central Park once, like in the park.
Cool.
Uh, uh, oh, and Fiasco was a band at the same time too. That was a cool band, some cool kids. Um, but yeah, and then so but then at that same time, kind of like outside of like hardcore was also happening like Double Dagger in Baltimore is really cool. That band was happening a lot. That was just a vocalist, a bassist, and a drummer. So I think also that attack mode was really central to understanding of like
Sure.
you
Yeah.
could do you play with bass and stuff like that.
Cause yeah, like what type of? Cause like I correct me if I'm wrong. I almost feel like you guys get like adopted by like hardcore at large, like at least from my observation, like later. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe at the time you were just playing rooms that I just wasn't familiar with in the early 2010s. Like what kind of stuff were you playing with at that time, if you remember?
Weird shit.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. Your band is like, like left of center, and kind of like with the banjo
I feel
distorted.
like it also like we're not used. I feel like when we started, we were more like we had more to do with like no wave, like DNA shit like that,
I
like
could see that.
ESG and stuff like that. We
Hmm.
really like that stuff. And that was really it. Also, I think to to be completely honest, because we couldn't play that well, so we were like, "Yo, we could like make this noise bar here. It
Yeah, there you
sounds
go, dude.
awesome. Like, it's way better than playing this riff. I can't play that well." Um, but I definitely like I guess maybe the sound has become just as like we've gotten better at playing music. I think it's become like more sounding like riffs
Yeah,
be- because we just have riffs now, and definitely early Show Me the Body is guilty of having minimal riffs. You
sure.
know, and like in a real way where like the riff is like a sample that we made on GarageBand that like we just like repeated, like, you know
I
what I mean?
think, you know what, dude? I think that was kind of my first interaction with like witnessing y'all. I saw a video of you guys, and I swear it went like this. I saw the video, a clip, and there's no sound. And I see people going crazy. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, see, the brother's got the banjo. That's interesting. I wonder what this is going to sound like. Then when I turned the sound on, I was like, this music is not what I expected for this type of crowd reaction. And it was definitely early Show Me the Body. And so it was like, it would have been like, oh, like you were doing kind of like, you talk about how like there wasn't like riffs, like you say, like you develop later. And so it was really interesting. I was like, this is like kind of like, it was sort of like kind of blowing my mind, you know, in a way, or I was like trying to like understand it, you know, kind of thing. And I think that has been, in my personal opinion, one of the main staying, like a staying power of your band from an observational standpoint is that it's like kind of like, you can't compare it. I can't compare your band to anything that came before you, and I can't compare you to any of your contemporaries, but you kind of like, you sit in with like you can like kind of play like all these different types of rooms and it just works, you know?
Well, well, thank you. That's very kind of you to
Yeah, no
say,
doubt.
but um, I think it comes. It's just like the energy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
it's really just energy. Like, and I think the energy that we started with when like we were making like, and some of those musical choices we listen to now, we're like, how do we make that? That's sick. Like, you know what I mean? And 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 some of the new stuff I'm really excited about too. But I think throughout the energy has been the same, and I think a lot of that is from being at hardcore shows and hardcore punk shows, even noise shows as a kid, and being like freaked out and
Yeah.
really freaked, and at first not understanding what's going on, and then after like understanding what's happening, being like, oh, this is like something. This is like a third thing. Like there's school and church and like this. You know what I mean? Like this is like a completely different way to dance. Like, you know what I mean? Like this
Hmm.
is like, you know what I mean? And so my first understanding of it was outside of even music. Like you're saying, how kind of maybe left to center like ABC No Rio was in comparison to like a CBGB's
Sure.
or like
An Anthrax or something in the 80s or like a
uh what was this spot? Fucking uh that spot in Queens used to be a thing. Where like everybody gets hurt used to play. Uh,
oh, fuck.
uh yeah,
Castle
right.
Heights.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Castle.
yeah. No doubt,
So
no
like
doubt.
so ABC No Rio definitely what united all this crazy music was that everybody that was playing there was freaks and was freaking out and all had this unifying spirit of like we're here to freak the fuck out. And so that and I think so even more than any of the music, the dancing and how people were responding and the spiritual energy that happened around this was really moving to me. And
Yes. That makes so much sense, man.
yeah, and so I think throughout Show Me the Body, that's been like really the mainstay is like um is that like when we play, there's I don't think of it like I'm in Show Me the Body and like Show Me the Body is me and these other guys. Like I really think of it that like when we play, there's like a greater deity called by that name, and everybody there all gets down together.
Well, you're very communal as a guy. And I feel like that is something that was always attractive to hardcore for me and remains attractive to hardcore for me is that the person on stage, when hardcore is done correctly, the person on stage and the people in the crowd are on the same level. It's not like this person that's like, you're here to see me, I'm the star, or whatever like that. It's like,
Right.
no, man, like we're all the star. And this band or whatever, whoever's playing on stage, we're not good unless y'all are good out there.
Yeah.
Unless like y'all are hyped, that means we're doing a good job. So it's like I get kind of exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Where Show Me the Body is almost like this, as opposed to being like a band, like you said, like an experience. But I feel like you kind of have a lot of that around you with like, and we'll get into it later, but like kind of like Corpus and like things that are like I said, like very like community focused.
Yeah.
You know, when did you guys start like playing like outside of New York? Was it early on, or did it take some time?
I guess it took some time because none of us had cars,
Yeah,
and I got my license so we could go on tour.
hell yeah,
So, like borrow like my aunt's car so we could go on tour. Um, like to Jersey, you know, go go on
classic.
tour to Rhode Island, you know what I mean? In Massachusetts. But yeah, I guess like that I guess started in like 2014 or something like that.
Okay, so you've been like a
Uh,
band for a few years, and you start kind of getting out there.
yeah. And I guess at that time, just to talk about Corpus at the same time, Corpus was just like a crew, just
Sure.
like homies that we all hung out with, drank together, wrote graffiti together, fought together. That was it. And then it was probably like, I guess a couple years later, um, when we met Asha. Asha is the manager of the band as well as the mother of my child. And Asha was like, "Yo, do you like, in your music, you like talk about a lot of like nice things. Like you talk about a lot of shit." And she was like, "Do you want to do any of that?" And like, you know what I mean? And,
Wait. Yeah, you say you talk a big game, brother, but you playing it or not?
yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, "Facts,
I
dude."
was like, all right, all right.
Yeah. And so we really started doing like more like initiatives and like using this circle of like friends that we were actively, at the same time building, but then also doing things all together um, that were, kind of using our manpower, but then also like try to be on like a needs based level, like doing like code drives in the winter for, the where Corpus, we've like there's like small Corpus headquarters in Queens and where we're at, like there's 5 homeless shelters surrounding us. Like there's no school in this area, so there's a lot of homeless shelters. So we try to like do a lot of things, especially when it's cold with the shelters. Um, and we do like do like a free fight class called Corpus Self Defense. That's it's basically just like a intro to boxing and self defense class that we do like for free in the summertime
Very
outside.
cool. Very cool.
Uh, Used to do it at a Diamond Heart gym with Gavin from Burn.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah.
Great guy.
Tough
He
man. So that's a good guy to do it.
he hosted us in his space for a long time. Um, yeah, shout out Joe. Um, but yeah, so it kind of and it's basically just like we're just more organized now,
Right.
and I'm very proud to say that. But I think a lot of people like to think about like you know militancy and activism and stuff like that. But I think key to doing anything, especially on a needs basis with your community, is like organizing yourself and making sure that you guys can have some discipline together. Um,
I think it's a great. I mean, I think that is a really good way to kind of frame that because I have been in circles before where it's like people have the spirit and their intention is strong, but they don't have the discipline and they don't have the organization, and it just kind of turns into infighting and like it's like it
that
defeats
happens,
the purpose.
yeah, that happens to everybody. But I mean, like, I think it really like when like COVID happened. I think if like you were like a band that sucked, you broke up.
Yeah.
If you were like an organization that couldn't keep it together, that didn't have the organization together, you stopped linking up, and Corpus became a lot stronger.
Yeah.
Um,
I think COVID you actually saw it's so interesting. COVID you actually saw a lot of that. Exactly what you're talking about. You saw things crumble that, no longer had the foundation and you saw things kind of build up that maybe wouldn't have had the framework to do so before, perhaps.
people weren't getting checks and
Yeah.
didn't and could fucking not go to work like every day. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
that, had a lot of time to sit around and plan and do like and plan out some like actual initiatives like for that we saw that where we could like help our community in a real way. You know what I mean? Not just like at the show. You know what I mean? Which is equally important, but
But it's good, it's good to do it, away from there too. It's like you're really like approaching a lot of different fronts with kind of your community
I think
efforts.
especially in New York, there's so many folks, and I love the New York scene. I feel like I used to be really upset when cats would like come to New York and be like, "Oh yeah, like I'm in a band," and like you're like, "I'm like my band is from Bushwick," you know what I mean? It's like,
Oh no, I understand. I mean, I imagine if you're a native New Yorker, and I feel like, I mean, let's keep it 100%. There's mad transplants in New York,
yeah, a lot.
in
But that's
general.
what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. Like I think I used to be like, "Oh, y'all are licks. Like, don't
Yeah,
talk to me." Like,
yeah,
like, and I used like growing up, that was the MO. But I think also as I've grown, I've also realized that so many folks come to New York because they really need it. And so
yeah,
many folks have always historically come to this city because they really need it. And the city is always rising and falling and changing hands and changing influence and changing respect and changing music. And so many folks who are part of that changing and part of that circulation of efforts and blessings also come from outside of the city as well historically, you know what I mean? so
mhm,
so i so i so in my older age, I feel like I've certainly like I've tried to like have a little bit more grace for folks who come to the city.
sure,
Yet at the same time it can be like ridiculous when like people want to get down to the show, and that's cool. I think it's dope to dance to New York hardcore in New York. That's a dope thing, and people want to do that and come here and do that, and I think it's dope. But I think also just like not being like part of the block, being part of the community, you know what I mean, is like is a big deal as well. But I think there's the the archetype of like of that person, I think is everywhere to certain degrees, you know what I mean, that
for sure.
part of our society promotes it to bounce around and enjoy yourself and have fun.
Yeah,
And I think having fun is cool. I'm not an anti-fun kind of guy, but I think I think at the same time with hardcore and punk rock music, and you're exposing me by saying so much truth about ABC No Rio, and maybe that's just like burnt into my mentality of how I see it. But I see like meat and potatoes. Like to me, you know what I mean? It's not
yeah,
so different than like
yeah. You wanted you. It's like there. There's a line I have in a song coming up that's coming out where it's a line where it talks about being like too punk to live or too core to care, where it's like if you're so punk and like so focused on like things away from the scene that it gets in the way of you like actually like being a part of a community and like making music and stuff like that, that's not good. And if you're just there to hang out and like dance and stuff like that, I mean that's cool, but it's like hardcore is subversive music. Punk rock is subversive music. It's like anti like society music and it's pro community music. So it's like if you don't have like that in your blood at the same time, it's like you might as well just, and there ain't nothing wrong with this because I like EDM, but you might as well just be going to like some EDM gig, you know?
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So
I think
I
I think
feel you.
I think something to be said about antisocial behavior, and like and especially when there's traditions of really positive antisocial behavior. I think like that's a really special thing. You know what I
Agreed.
mean? Like something like that's why I always consider punk rock and hardcore an American folk tradition. You know what I
I,
mean?
that's an awesome way to like look at it. Like I haven't looked at it that way before, but it really is though.
It is. It's folk art.
Yeah.
It comes from this place. It's made by. It doesn't matter if you're that good at playing it. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
really not what it's about. You don't have to be a schooled musician, but it really is like American folk art. Like it's people getting down how they feel like they can, and and it's folk traditions in this country that are really sick. You know what I mean? And there's like a folk art tradition even in New York. It's crazy styles like flying cut sleeves and like Jose and shit like that, and Ghetto Brothers, and a whole lineage of like outlaw folk art traditions. But I
All in the
think,
heart, man.
but I think it really encapsulates like all of hardcore is like these traditions and and I mean that's why I think it's important, like what you're saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the balance is important. It's important to have fun, but it's also important to like, have actionable. It's not just sloganeering. You got to do something kind of actionable at the same time. And speaking kind of all this is like like how like talking about like hardcore music and like how like your involvement within that scene in the community and stuff. As Show Me the Body is going through its time. When did you notice a difference, so to speak, of like like okay, we're not really playing the basements anymore. Now we're playing like we're getting a lot more attention and a lot a lot bigger. Did that come like pre-COVID, or was that like kind of like a post-COVID phenomenon?
I think it like started right before COVID, and we were like about to go on this like big tour, right? And maybe our album that people tend to like the best, our second record,
Hmm.
Dog Whistle, we never got to do that tour
Okay. Yeah.
for Dog Whistle. So like lockdown happened, like I guess it was like 6 days before the start of that tour.
Yeah. Mm.
Um, and so yeah, so I guess it got like stopped for a little while, but I guess it like started to happen a little bit, but I don't know, dude. I think, I don't consider us like a large band. I think we're blessed to be able to travel the world and have these experiences and meet other folks that feel similarly serious about life and music as we do. But at the same time, like we have no complicated ideas about ourselves that we are like some like rock stars.
Well,
You know
that's
what I mean?
good.
Like
I mean, some people out there do, and
no, we're still a small band, dude. We're a hardworking band.
yeah. I mean, oh, and that. So I mean, like, I'll definitely say that it's like you guys are on the road a lot in a capacity that is very like not just flying on the coattails of others, type of stuff. It seems, and also to get, I will tell a story and I'll commend you on something. An earlier interaction with you and I is that, and this speaks a lot to your character, is that when you hit me and Danny up to do a show for you after Aftershock, and you were just down to jump on the fentanyl show in San Francisco. And I remember I was like, oh, I'm like, like who do I write a check to? And you were like, oh man, we're just doing this. Don't even worry about it. Of course I had to give you money anyway, but like, I was like, man, I was like, that says a lot. You play something like Aftershock, some like, big, like not like Radio Rock Festival, but it is a big festival in Sacramento. But your spirit was like, I just want to go play the punk rock show in San Francisco. And I don't care if it's like, if it's about us or if it's about like money or whatever. And that, I think that kind of what you talk about where you're like, yo, it's not like you don't consider yourselves rock stars or anything like that, but I think a lot of other people do they don't consider Show Me Body rock stars. They consider you like a substantial musical endeavor, I'd say.
Dude, yeah, who knew, man? That's cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Dude,
stuck with me, bro. I was like, that says everything I need to know about this man's character. That really stuck with me.
I appreciate
And right there, and then I was like,
that was such a special night. That was really fun.
that was hella fun, bro. That was a good night.
Show.
That was a good night.
Yeah. Any time to be in the Bay Area is honestly is a good time for us.
Oh yeah, all your shows here are awesome. Gilman show. Well, I guess that was this past year. That was wonderful.
I think there's like a secret affinity too. I mean, I haven't spent too much time there, so I can't play. I don't mean to talk out of my ass, but I think there's an affinity. At least when I meet individuals, there's an affinity. I think between New Yorkers and folks who were raised in the Bay Area.
Sure. I mean, like, so as a guy who's like technically like an outsider, a guy who like moved here, I guess 4 years ago, what I what there's like a people that are from the Bay are like very proud, like a New Yorker. Like you're proud to be,
I like that.
like where you're from, and I love that. I love that. I'm proud to originally be from Richmond, so it's like I identify with that, and then like even the kind of like there's like microcosms, kind of like how like you live in Queens. It's like people that are like really proud to be like I'm from New York, but I love being from Queens, or like I love being from the Bronx. You pick that up here too with like people that are like I'm really proud to be from like San Jose, or like I spend most of my time in San Francisco, so it's like like I know mad people that are like, oh no, I'm a Frisco guy, like it's about SF, like and or people that are proud to be from Oakland. Super, you can almost do a weird parallel of like Manhattan to San Francisco, Oakland to Brooklyn, Berkeley to like you can
I
really
don't know
do
what would be to Berkeley. Berkeley's fucked up.
that. One's tough because it would have to be like I've tried to do it before. I mean, like I guess like depending on what part of Berkeley you're in, it's like Queens-ish, but that one's a little hard to do the one to
It's
one.
that one block is so crazy. I think
Well,
we've played that block a couple of times, and I always somebody always gets something. Not us,
stolen.
but yeah, somebody always while loading in. Not
Yeah.
even like it's like literally a 10-second period that you have the fucking the homies on the block out there are like, dude,
Also,
like
what's
respect
the
them.
thing with Berkeley is that Berkeley itself is really nice. It's like but it's like right above Oakland. So what happens is like a lot of fools from Oakland will come up and scout. They're like, oh, I know bands are around these venues like Cornerstone, Gilman, whatever, and they scout, and then they see people like going, and they're like, okay, and then they go and like they bip the car or whatever. Knock on wood, haven't had that happen to somebody in like a while.
Yeah, yeah,
So
all right.
because even though it's like not my fault when I set the show up, I'm like, I'm bummed though. Like I'm like, man, I'm really sorry like that happened or whatever. But yeah, no, you got to worry about that sometimes. But yeah, so post lockdown, like, what do you remember your first show back being?
Our first show was in New York at Warsaw,
Oh, sick, big.
and I'm trying to think of who else was on the bill. I can't even think.
Was it a one off, or did you guys just oh, we're starting a tour, we're just going back hard?
Honestly, bro, I don't fucking remember, dude.
It's all good. It's like 5 years ago at this point.
Yeah, it's like 5 years. I so apologize, dude.
No, you're fine. No, it's fine.
Alcohol have ruined my life, dude.
It's like, hey man, that's why I don't do them.
No, dude. Every respect to you. I love it, but respect to you. But
Yeah.
memory does go out the window sometimes. Um, I'm trying to remember, dude. I think it might have just been like a one-off, just being like COVID's over and we're playing
Like,
this.
let's party. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was crazy and if I'm remembering correctly, it was also Asha's birthday. So like,
Oh, beautiful.
yeah, we went insane. That was that was an insane night.
Hell yeah.
It was also like playing at Warsaw was really cool. I don't know if you've been to Warsaw,
I haven't, but I know it's like legend, big
Yeah.
place.
I think recently over COVID, unfortunately, AEG or Live Nation bought it,
It does happen.
which really is sad, but it's a legendary spot. And like the original like green room was just like in the top of it that used to just, it was just like a, obviously, it was like a board room.
Oh, I've heard the green room there is cool. Like it's like special.
Well, it used to be. I think they redid it, but it
Mm.
now looks like every other Live Nation accommodating green room where like
Yeah.
every is also a cooler.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is like cool,
Sure.
like,
Fuck it.
no problem. Everybody love a cold beverage,
Yeah, that's straight up.
but you know what I'm saying? They used to let you smoke up there, and it was such a good time.
Oh, that's
And
OS.
they
Hell yeah.
had Polish beers, and so many cool shows happened there, and it also kind of like I don't know if it used to be like an athletic, it could double like as I don't know about that, but maybe there was like seats. I think they like put like it used to be like a theater too, so the space is like huge. It's like a grand hall, and it's like almost like a square. Like the ceilings are really high. It's like a weird place to see music, and I saw so many bands throughout my life going there, being like, "Oh, crazy! This is a big show."
And
And
then
so,
then you get to play there. I'm sure it was like a really cool full circle moment for you.
yeah, that was beautiful. That was really beautiful, and I love watching footage of that night. Because there's so much beautiful footage of my brother Noble,
Oh, I
and,
love that.
and he's like singing singing with us and going insane, and yeah, it's such beautiful footage. Yeah, yeah, man.
Did you so when lockdown rescinded, did you like guys like you play this show and like you talk about kind of like organizing and having like discipline, like a plan, kind of like while things were like on pause. Were you like, all right, we have this mapped out and we're like gonna hit touring like right now, or was it like, okay, like now we're releasing like music like immediately, like kind of like what do you remember sort of being the game plan?
I think we just hit the road immediately because it felt like everybody and grandma had written a new record.
That yeah, 2022. I feel like there was like maybe an oversaturation of like LPs. There were so many that came out that year.
Yeah. I mean, there's an oversaturation of tours in general.
Well, yeah, that
You know
too,
what I mean?
for
Like,
sure.
which is a post-COVID happening, I think, low key. But I think it's, you can't, I think everybody needs to do what they want to do because I think for a little while, it's just like 9/11 happened, and then the rest of the world was like, "Oh, New York won't be around forever," and then everybody wanted to come to New York, and like
Mm.
COVID happened, and then like, "Oh wait, like I won't be able to like do cool shit like all the time," and like now that COVID's over, people are like, "Oh, we have to do cool shit all the
Well, yeah,
time."
it was like there was that huge boom. There's a
Yeah,
huge, and like the tail of that's been very long. Like like I still think we're experiencing the effects of like of how big things got post 2021. But that won't be around forever.
I mean, yeah, I mean, like, I feel like there's been like a lot of like changes in and all this stuff, but in the end, I see so many things that point me towards like a positive future. Like we just did a couple dates with those young men in No Guard. And,
Oh yeah, that man rocks.
yeah, beautiful band, beautiful music, beautiful cats,
Yeah,
and
they rock.
and the oldest one is like
Oh, they're high schoolers.
like under 21, like
Yeah.
the oldest one, and the way that they um held themselves and like and did their thing, I thought was really impressive. Um, and so that was really sick, man, just to see that because I feel like if I were to think of myself at that age, I was falling apart. I was like, what the fuck was like I was really really impressed to see these gentlemen
Yeah.
and
I do feel like we've seen like lads come back, like young people, like,
yeah,
like really young people, like doing stuff. I mean, hey, look, Bandaman and SF, like there's two guys that one of them just turned 21 like a couple months ago.
I love
So it's like, it is cool to see, like, that again. Cause I do feel like for a time period, it was like I kind of before lockdown, I was not meeting like a lot of young people that were getting into like hardcore. I think at that time they were kind of like younger people were maybe a little more interested in things like, this is a term that doesn't really like apply anymore, but like SoundCloud rap and like things like that. They were exploring like kind of like other rooms, you know.
now they're the new room is hyperpop.
Oh, dude, I know.
The
Yeah,
new
like
room is
that same kid that same kid, the kid I just referenced. He showed me Nina Geraci recently, a
yeah.
hyperpop artist from like Australia. That I feel like if he hadn't shown me her, I wouldn't have encountered her music. But it's good. But yeah, kids love that right now.
I mean, there's some. I mean, just like anything, dude. There's good. Just like all places, there's shitty people and there's good people.
It's true.
In all music, there's good music and there's bad music, dude. But there's some. Yeah, there's crazy good stuff that's happening that is so outside of the realm that I would like imagine music happening. But like,
Mhm.
Jane Remover and
That
stuff
was I
like
literally about
that.
to say Jane Remover. That was the next one I was going to.
Ah, dude.
Yeah,
Um, but at this also what is Cindy Lee? I love Cindy Lee too.
cool.
Um, do you know Cindy Lee?
No, I haven't, but if it's in the same realm as that, then I'll check it out.
No, not at all. No, no,
Okay,
no.
what's up
She's
with it?
like it's it's like this like it's basically this like persona that's like a drag performance of this like Canadian dude that used to be in this band called Women, I think, or something. And
We'll look this
and,
up right now. Sounds interesting.
and it's called, yeah, Cindy Lee. It's incredible, and they have like two records out, and they're incredible. But I was, I'm just riffing on new stuff that I think is cool. But um, but I think definitely in like hard music, it's really exciting to like to see like younger folks that are like intrigued by it. You know what I mean? And and actually getting down and taking themselves like seriously is really cool to see. Because I felt like from a really young age, like there was nothing cool to me about like not taking stuff seriously because like there was so like everything was serious, you know what I mean? So like there was nothing cool about like not taking a band seriously. So like when Show Me the Body started operating, even when we were very, very small and nobody cared about it, we took ourselves extremely seriously.
Sure. I
You know what
mean,
I
you
mean?
got yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's one of like, I think that's one of the only reasons that we've been able to sustain ourselves to this time is that we've taken ourselves extremely seriously, even though it's like ridiculous music and like ask people to like to engage in like antisocial behaviors and like I think it's still like, serious to us and everybody else involved.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like, you know, I I do think that taking yourself seriously at kind of like any level is important. Even if something's like small or new or like in your mind, like I don't know, maybe like not as substantial as it could be. It's like uh, it's kind of like practice like you play. If you're gonna put your heart into something, if you're gonna do something, then do it for real.
Yeah.
It's like because like doing things flippantly. I mean, like you can, but it's like people identify with and are attracted to people that are passionate about things and music that's passionate and music that feels real and or doesn't have to be music, anything you do. So that's I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
Um,
Michael
so
Pete, Michael
yeah,
Pete was my first guitar player, like my first man, like my first mentor in life who taught me how to play guitar. When when we would play together, I was like very little. I must have been like 9 years old, but he snatched the guitar out of my hands. He takes it out of my hands. He's like, yo, if you're not gonna hit it, we're not playing.
I love that. If you're not gonna play hard, then don't play at all.
Right. He wasn't even like a punk rocker necessarily. He was just like, he's a crazy dude. And I was like, facts, okay. But I think and I don't mean to make it like a grind set mentality. Like I really think of like music and of like folk art as like personal prayer time, you know what I mean? Of like
Yeah.
doing can like, really elevate your life and and change your surroundings and yourself.
Absolutely, changing your surroundings through music and creating something is something that's so powerful that I think we take for granted sometimes, or some of us take for granted sometimes, of not realizing the impact of like things you do with your involvement. Like if you're a show promoter, it's like you're providing a space for people to like have community. If you're like a musician, you're providing something for people to identify with and connect with. Whatever. If you're an artist, you're providing like images for people to like kind of like see themselves in or identify with too. There's just so much that like this community gives back with, I think sometimes without even realizing it. In kind of the current time frame, like what does Show Me the Body got going on, and kind of like what's next for you, and kind of like what's kind of the current landscape for you?
In terms of Show Me the Body,
Yeah.
um, dude, just made a bunch of sorrowful fucking music, my man.
Yeah. Considering the recent events, that's completely understandable, and probably something that like people do need to hear.
yeah, yo, like, um, yeah, it's been yeah, it's been a wild happening. Um, uh, but like maybe I guess uh like 2 days before Noble's passing, um, he was in the studio with a lot of the Corpus homies, and we, was like yelling over the record and making these like interludes basically for the record, these intros and stuff, and um, me and like he ended up just like laying down words on the record for like in relation to like life and loss and like moving through it and how do we do it and and we were in the studio that night and then he had his accident like 2 days later
Hmm.
and so now like the record is like narrated by me and my man and he's like yeah and it's wild too because I think I'm gonna have to say this for a long time but like now the record was already written like no, even like a lot of the music is about Mike Down. Mike Down
Right.
is from San Diego. Um the original creator of the End Racism shirt. So a lot of a lot of and he passed recently and so a lot of the songs were about Mike and Noble was like, "Oh yo, that's about Mike right now." I was like, "Yeah." And so we're rapping about all that and so it's wild. It's like a spooky gift that like he left us, that to help us like get through it. Um,
Damn, because it's like almost like it's like he didn't know it at the time, but it's like what he was talking about on the record with like Mike Down. It like ended up becoming like about himself
yeah,
in a way. Couldn't have predicted that at all. But how? Yeah, I mean, I see what you seem like spooky gift. It's like kind of like leaving sort of something to help his friends get through that hard time, like on
yeah,
recording.
yeah, yeah,
That's wild, bro.
yeah, yeah. It was really tough, man. It's really and it's difficult to even like listening to the master, making sure like all the transitions are correct. And I'm like,
Ah, dude, of course, dude, of course.
uh, so like every day I cry, So
It's going to be a surreal experience when it's like out there, in like in
yeah,
the ether.
yeah. It's been crazy. It's been crazy. We've only played like 3 shows since he's been gone. But those were like maybe the first like shows that we've done without him in like years.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
was like and it was a lot it was painful, but some of it was beautiful, but a lot of it was painful that will remain so. But yeah. Yeah, what are you gonna do, man?
You know, I I know a lot of because I mentioned earlier how I saw a lot of the outpouring for singing his praises when he passed, and I think it's like you now have you're gonna have this piece of music that is sort of like a testament to his energy and his friendship to you and his
Yeah,
friendship to his peers and stuff. And it's also going to be something for people to kind of like have something tangible to revisit and to go back to kind of connect with him. So if it had to happen in a way, I guess this is like a very poetic way for people to be able to do that. So I guess in a certain sense, it's good that there is something like that out there.
I'm really happy it exists. It just sucks that it exists, but I'm really happy that it exists.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, man. He's a monumental bad motherfucker, dude. And yeah, it's a wild thing. It's a wild thing. I could still see him on his bike, on his motorcycle. I still hear him coming up the block sometimes. But
When is that supposed to be out?
who the fuck knows, kid?
Yeah, for sure.
Next year, soon, next year.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
No, this year.
Oh, yeah.
This
I guess so. Yeah, we're January now. You're right. So it'll be this year.
late. I'm late, yo.
So I
Um,
mean, it just like gives. I don't know, I think, like I said, people connect with your music a lot. So I think that gives some of the people also to like look forward to, regardless of they knew Noble or not. It's even if they've lost somebody in their lives that isn't Noble. They'll be able to kind of like hear that, know the story, and be able to kind of like identify, kind of like we've referenced earlier. So that's kind of like you said earlier, man. It's like putting something out there that is real and does something. It's for fun, but it's not just for fun.
dude, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. It is all fun and games, but just doesn't mean shit. You know what I mean? Just even though life may be a game, doesn't mean it ain't serious as fuck, my man. And yeah, and I think as humans in general, we miss out on so much tenderness with one another. We miss
Yeah,
out. We miss out on this because we're like afraid to like look silly, afraid to like be vulnerable, or like afraid to like seem gay, or you know what I mean? Like
sure.
be seem stupid. But my man wasted no time showing love to people and uh and kissing other people that he loved and and really wasted no time to show tenderness and give light to the people around him, So in yeah, yeah, in some ways, may everybody know him, but also, to know him and be known by him was is like nothing else.
That's respect, dude. That's what a statement, what a testament. And I think that's what I want to leave the listenership with is those kind and strong words about Noble, about your friend. And I want, people to like sit with that and internalize that. And if it applies to your life and somebody you've lost or whatever, then, think about it in that capacity. If it doesn't, that's great. But it's tough out there. And it sounded like he was a star, and that's really cool that you're, kind of able to continue playing music and exist on and fly his flag and kind of his legacy. It's beautiful.
Gotta try, baby.
Julian, thank you so much for being on. This has been great, and I think you're doing like a lot of cool stuff,
Oh man,
and
no, you've
you
been
know,
too kind to me. You've been too kind to me. You're saying so many kind things. Thank you so much, man. For real. And I
of course,
appreciate
brother, of
I
course.
always I always enjoy talking to you whenever we meet somewhere in America. I always enjoy seeing you and talking with you.
And we'll hopefully it'll happen soon. Everyone, thank you for listening. Until next time, stay safe.